say at every one of these events, these are 24/7, 365. So from your home, from your work, you can log into these at any time, pick a lab, whether it be the Horizon Stack, Workspace ONE, NSX, which we talked about in our last meeting. You can get to them at any point and play with them and learn as much as you want about the technology. So, quick agenda. We already started the introductions. I'm going to go over some of the items in our Horizon 7 suite, an overview, and then if you haven't already, we're going to get kicked off into the lab, and we'll have a Q&A. And please, the Q&A, feel free to interrupt me at any point. We'll do that the entire time. So, current version of Horizon 7.10. So basically, the Horizon Stack is an application virtualization. How many folks are running Horizon 7? 7.10? 7.9? 7.8. Okay, so a little bit older. So the bulk of the Horizon Stack is right here. You've got your Unified Access Gateway, your connection servers, jump servers, which are at 1.0, which is version 2.0 is coming. I highly recommend that you wait until 2.0. It's got a little bit of, has its quirks. But anyway, so you can publish virtual desktops, RDSH. Any folks in healthcare publishing Epic. The RDSH Epic Hyperspace application is huge. I come from the healthcare vertical, so we have a lot of publishing of the Epic application. Identity Manager, not really going to talk about that today. That's the Workspace ONE. That's your portal into your application entitlements. Virtualized apps, ThinApp, it's an older technology which App Volumes has now kind of superseded. There are still some cases for ThinApp. User Environment Manager, that's your application customizations and rules and policies. Thank you. And then at our core, vRealize Operations, obviously vCenter Server, SQL Server, and Active Directory. So what's new in 7.10? There is IPv6. Anybody using IPv6 yet? Didn't think so. Skype for Business 2019. There are some enhancements to some cleanups for instant clones. Instant clones, as you know, you log off, they're gone. So there are some options now where you can unprotect, delete, and list, and do some work with those instant clones. There's even some information coming for, what's the word for it? If you need to do any security audits or stuff like that, there's going to be some technology coming so that you can actually preserve an instant clone for those types of researches. And Extended Service Branch. So this is new. Anybody heard of Extended Service Branch via VMware or Microsoft? So you're going to have a much longer window of active support. You're not really going to change versions of Horizon now. You're going to get patches. So there'll be 3 service packs, critical bugs and security, Windows 10 support, and it encompasses the entire suite. Horizon 7, App Volumes, UEM, and then every 12 months, a set of extended service branches will be released. So think of it as you're not going to do as much upgrading. You're going to more do patching and improving, and it's going to help you extend the longevity of your Horizon environment without constantly having to say, okay, we need to change window, we need to do this, we need to do that. Any questions? Okay, so getting into some of the products. Dynamic Environment Manager. This is what User Environment Manager was. It's just been renamed. It's really no different. Some updates. So if any of you have installed it, some of the GUIs are going to be different. The documentation is still in the process of being changed. A lot of our docs call it User Environment Manager. In fact, I'm guilty on calls. I'll still call it UEM. It was, I don't know how many are familiar with Immediio. Immediio is the company that created User Environment Manager. For the longest time, little pet peeve of ours, it was immediate in program files. That's changing. So again, just a rebranding, renaming to get it more in line with, the VMware vision. Probably one of the biggest features coming in it is going to be a diagnostic tool, which will allow you to gather a whole lot more diagnostic log data to see why is it taking so long. Is it DEM that's causing this problem, or is it Active Directory? Is it GPO? All of that information is going to be gathered for you from a logging perspective, so that you can dig in and really figure out what's going on instead of guessing. Let me change a setting here and see if it makes a difference.
Sorry, was DEM replaced UEM?
So it's just been renamed. Correct. So DEM it's now DEM, Dynamic Environment Manager, whereas it was UEM, User Environment Manager. So it's same product, a little bit better, a little bit more branded screens, but still the same product. So if you're using it now, when you upgrade to 9.9 and beyond, it'll just be called DEM. And again, diagnostic screens, you can, they're disabled by default. You'll modify your ADMX templates to turn them on, give them a path to tell you where you want them to be saved. There's some verbose logging. You can collect performance, CPU consumption, I/O statistics, log slow calls. Again, really, really useful data that, having troubleshot UEM over the years, this is going to be really nice to have. Okay, app volumes. So the current version is 2.1.8. There is a public beta 4.0 out there, which we're going to talk about in a slide or two. Probably the biggest, let me ask first, app volumes. Folks using it? Yep, okay. Great product. I love the flexibility of being able to take an application, extrapolate it away from your master image, and then put it into a VDI pool as needed based on user requirements. One of the biggies that's in 2.1.8 now is rolling upgrades. So you don't have to take everything down to upgrade app volumes anymore. You can go server by server and still maintain the environment running, whereas in the past, you really had to just drop. We're upgrading app volumes, and we're upgrading the app stacks themselves too, because you just couldn't do it. So again, 2.1.8 and newer, you're going to be able to do those rolling upgrades. Otherwise, not really a whole lot has changed in the product since 2.1.2, I believe.
The red app upgrade from 2.13 to 2.18, so you have two steps.
Say that one more time.
You're on 2.13 or around there, you go to red upgrade to 2.18, or you have two steps?
No, so 2.1.2 and beyond, I'm fairly confident. I'll double check that. I'll get your information. But you can do a direct upgrade to 2.18. 4.0 is going to be a different story. You're going to need to be on 2.18 before you jump to 4.0. So if you wanted to go to 4, I would recommend you start with planning your upgrade to 2.18 now. And then, so 4 it's a public beta now. It's supposed to be GA. We'll get to it in the screen. It's going to GA in Q1 of 2020. So again, if you're a fast follower and you like to get up to speed with things, but it's going to be GA in 2020.
What about the app stack that you had to upgrade to the you need to repackage all those?
If you're on 2.1.3, you're probably looking at a repackage. Yeah. I can honestly tell you that has come up in calls and conversations more times than you could imagine. So it's definitely something that a lot of folks have asked for. They're like, this is killing us, that we have to repackage app stacks every time a new version of this comes out, for sure.
Will this be different in the 4.0 version?
Yes, you won't have to do that anymore. So yeah, so one more period of pain to go from 2.1.3 to 2.1.8. You'll repackage your app stacks, but then when 4.0 drops and you're ready to adopt it, you'll be able to then continue with the upgrades. Your app stacks will transition in, and you won't have to republish them. So, great question, though. Okay, so with 4.0, there are a lot of changes coming, and I highly recommend, I think on here or not, but if you go to techzone.vmware.com, there are articles to talk about app volumes 4. But we're going to decouple package management and delivery. We're going to manage the full life cycle of an application, package once and deploy anywhere. So what does that mean? It means that you're now going to have versions of your app stack. So if you had an app stack and you wanted to assign it to somebody, they would get it, and it's working, and everything's great. If you wanted to make changes to that app stack, you had to either copy it and then take away that app stack later and publish it to someone else. But what you're going to get now is you're going to get version control. So you can have that app stack. You can have a new version of the app stack. You can assign folks to that app stack for testing. When you're ready, you can publish it, and it becomes your current version. If you need to roll back, you can roll back to the previous version. So there's a lot more flexibility with how you're going to use these app stacks. And the point where you're probably going to, and we encourage it, get towards one app in a stack, because the amount of app stacks, the published document for VMware says, don't assign more than 15 stacks per VM. Well, that's changing. It's going to be, I want to say 30. And the flexibility is changing. So, like I said, single app packaging, full lifecycle management of those stacks, whereas before it just wasn't quite the same. And then on-demand application delivery. So, again, like I was saying, you can capture your application. You can ensure the versioning works with multiple operating systems so you can test it. You can do pilot. These are all stages that you can take that stack through within app volumes now. Then you can publish it. So the assignments work very similar to the 2.x environment that you have now. And then when you're ready, you can retire it. As before, you just moved to the new one. That was it. You were done. Questions? No? Is everybody having an okay time logging into the labs? I realize it's been a little bit slow, and we're going to work on making sure that's better in the next environment. Okay, so Ed asked me to talk a little bit about Horizon on AWS, Horizon in the cloud. Does anybody currently have a cloud environment now? Okay. Are you Azure, AWS? AWS. Okay. Azure. Okay. So AWS is, I don't want to say it's our biggest, but it's the strategic partnership that VMware has with Amazon to provide cloud services. So as you can see from the slide, I mean, we integrate vSphere, vSAN, NSX, the whole suite. You have a Horizon 7 environment in the cloud. So it allows you to have either a full cloud presence, maybe a DR on-site versus in the cloud, or multiple regions, multiple data centers. It gives you use cases. So I mean, you can expand your data center. You can do application locality. So if you're across the globe, you can have different SDDCs, and then based on the region, they have availability to access certain applications. Like I said, disaster recovery, temporary. You can add capacity, or you can do, I've done a few of these, a POC. So you're not sure about Horizon 7 yet. You don't have Horizon 7. You're moving towards it, and you want to see it. Well, rather than buying hardware and spinning up a POC internally. You might not have the capital for that. You can do a POC on AWS. Now, Horizon Cloud Service, you might think, well, it's the same thing because you're using Horizon on Azure. How many folks have heard of Desktone? Didn't think so. So, Horizon 7 actually only exists feature parity-wise with AWS. Desktone is an old VDI technology that was meant for software-defined data centers. So if you have Azure or IBM SoftLayer, those are our two other cloud options. If you have them, you are actually using the old, I don't want to use the word old, you are actually using Desktone technology. You don't have the environment that you see today for Horizon 7 when you're managing pools, shares, and that type of feature. So something to think about. Now, mind you, Azure and SoftLayer are working towards feature compatibility so that you do have a Horizon 7 environment. So you see the same consoles, you see the same screens. You don't. I wish I could have brought a screen of what the console looked like on Azure or SoftLayer, but they are a little bit different. So something to think about when you're looking at a cloud initiative. If someone mentions SoftLayer, if someone mentions Azure, it's not going to truly look like a Horizon 7 environment right now. It's coming, but not right now. But at the same time, though, it will still interface with your environment internally, just like AWS does. So again, multi-cloud deployments, hourly billing, simple and single infrastructure, expanded geographic reach. It's all of the features. Now it says cloud with Azure. You'll get that with all three offerings. Okay, that was short and sweet. Questions? Okay. I am going to leave that screen up. Feel free to dig into the hands-on labs. I'm going to be around through lunch and probably through the presentation by Datatrium. And thanks. Appreciate the time.